Welcome in to another episode of the Barnes on Bama podcast. I'm your host, Owen Barnes, and we have a ton to discuss. Alabama takes on Illinois this week in basketball on the hardwood, and it's going to be a phenomenal matchup. I have a really special guest for you guys today, so I don't want to waste too much time. Got a couple of quick housekeeping things here up at the top. First things first, if y'all are interested in any of the written content that I have, it's on barnesonbama.com. The link is down below. That content is going to be covering obviously the pregame thread that I will have that's going to break down this Illinois game in more detail. Additionally, that can be found on my Twitter if you are interested. And then the final thing is if you are not subscribed, if you could do me a favor and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I know we're just around 850 right now, but trying to hit 1,000 before the end of basketball season, if at all possible. So if y'all could do that for me, I would really appreciate it. Well, without further ado, I have Austin Berkland of the Armchair Illini podcast and the armchairillini.com. I just went on Austin's podcast to talk about the Alabama side of this matchup. So going to bring him on here to talk about the Illini side of this matchup. How you doing today, Austin?
I'm doing well. I mean, it's an exciting matchup. As I said in my podcast, the United Center game is back for the Illini. Couldn't be more excited to invite the Alabama Crimson Tide up to Chicago.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is it's also the return, I guess, the home and home ish from last season that we saw. Nate Oates again continues with its crazy schedule. I know we talked about that a little bit over on your side. I wanted to talk a little bit about how the Illini have started this season. Obviously, y'all have played one Power Five team in Texas Tech. What do you think that you learned about the team in that game? I know sometimes with these smaller games, you may not learn quite as much, but what did y'all learn in that major Power Five game?
I think you learned that the Illini can win with repeatables. Last year, take the Oregon game, for example, where they made a lot of threes, but there was a lot of offensive rebounding success. Then late in Big Ten play, it fell off a cliff offensive rebound wise. Because as skilled as you can be in that, there is a luck factor in where the ball initially bounces and you can get that rebound. But whenever that didn't happen, the Illini struggled. They weren't driving to the lane. The three-pointers weren't going in. In that 81-77 win against Texas Tech, there was a lot of repeatables. Like I said, you look at the team stats in that game. 3-point percentage were 7 for 22 for the Illini. Texas Tech was 6 for 22. Offensive rebounds were 11 for the Illini, 7 for Texas Tech. So it was just great basketball all the way around. And it wasn't anything like, there's a spike here. That's not going to be consistent for the old season. So that was very exciting for Illini fans to just see a repeatable style of victory for the Illini that has multiple scores, multiple guys that can do a lot of different things on the basketball court. So I think that was the most impressive part of that Illini win against Texas Tech.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I think part of the offseason news was when you look at how the Illini going into this season, you think about the Avicic brothers. You potentially are only going to have one in this season. What do you know about the potential Tomislav Avicic? And if he doesn't play, what do we expect to see out of Zvonimir in this game?
Yeah, he had some knee issues the last couple games, and he's only played in one game where he scored 21 points. But it feels like there's a chance that he can come back. He's been practicing. It's going to be a game time decision for Tomislav, and if he's not there, it's not the end of the world because Zominir, his twin brother, did a lot of great things on the basketball court, and the front court depth was there. And adding Tomislav is just going to be a cherry on top because it's probably not going to be asked to do a lot because of the injury if he does play against Alabama. But even if he doesn't, there's still a lot of front court depth for the Illini, even without him.
Yeah, the other guy that I would kind of look at that's jumping off the page at me that you did not have in last season's matchup with Alabama was David Mirkovic. What do we need to know about this freshman? He seems to be leading the team in rebounds, second for the team in points behind Boswell. Like, what do we need to know about this elite freshman that's come in and done massive things for you guys?
So you know how Nickelodeon had Nick Jr.? It feels like you have Nikola Jr. with David Mirkovic. He is a guy that doesn't really jump that well. He doesn't have that high of a vertical. He just is a fundamental king. Like, he'll rebound the basketball. He knows where to pass the ball. He can shoot. He can dribble. He can run a fast break if need be. I mean, he is a guy that just does a little bit of everything. And that's what happens when you play European Pro Ball for 3 years whenever you're a teenager. And Now you're coming in and you're a sophomore at 19 years old. I mean, it just is such a valued asset to have that experience where there's no moment that's too big for him. It doesn't matter if he's playing a top tier team. It doesn't matter if he's playing Jackson State. He is going to be a steady Eddie presence during the entire game, and that's much needed with a group of guys that haven't played a lot together, but they all know of each other because of their European backgrounds, and that includes Andrei Stojakovic.
Yeah, and I will go ahead and say for all the Alabama fans or the few Illini fans that watch this, I'm sorry if I butcher all the names. Y'all have
No, it's all good.
Y'all all the Europeans on your team, and we don't have any, and it is it is a mouthful with the names.
Let's just say I don't envy the PA announcer for the Illini this season because you can get confused a lot with assists by Mirkovic and then Ivisic and Andrei Stojakovic. I mean, it's a lot of itches out there.
Yeah, and so like I said, really sorry if I do butcher some names because I fully expect that it's going to happen. The other thing that I would look at this game, obviously, as I did mention, Alabama played the Illini last season in this game, but it was a much different Illini team last season when they played because you had Will Riley that played in that game. You also had just some other guys that were other key contributors last season that are not on the team. Yakachonis, what do you think that is going to be the key difference and the difference maker in this game? Maybe it's Mirkovic that we just talked about, but what do you think is kind of the key difference in why the Illini may have some more success this season? Obviously, other than it being in Chicago instead of Birmingham, but this season instead of last.
I think there's a certain maturity level that this team plays with. When you look at Kylan Boswell, who is a senior, he's from Champaign, started his career at the University of Arizona as a very young freshman. I believe he was 17 years old when he first laced up for the Arizona Wildcats. And now he's averaging 18 and a half points for the Illini, 43.5% from beyond the three-point line. He just plays with such a maturity that you feel safe whenever he has the ball. You feel safe that he's going to make the right decisions. And then you bring in a guy who's played in multiple different conferences. That means a lot of different styles of play with Andrei Stojakovic. You think of him in his first stint with Stanford in the Pac-12 and then Cal in the ACC last year. So he brings a lot of maturity as well, and he's averaging 13 points in his few games that he's played. He hasn't started a game yet of note. He came off the bench because of injury in the Texas Tech game, but he plays with such a downhill style, and he protects the basketball. Last year, there were stretches where Kasparas Yakachonis was turning the ball over a lot. Will Riley wasn't his final form in the very beginning of the season. He was skin and bones. Didn't take much time in the weight room at that juncture of the season. So he was a different Will Riley than you saw in the NCAA tournament, who was driving the lane, who was really confident in his shot. And this year's team with the Europeans that have played with each other for just a touch or know of each other's play styles and strengths, Kylan Boswell's maturity. You have Andrei Stojakovic's maturity, and then Ben Hummerkaus, who is a guy that is able to play. It's his fifth year of eligibility. That doesn't seem crazy in today's world of college basketball, but he played some junior college basketball in his first season, or NAIA, pardon me. And the NCAA said after a federal injunction that NAIA does not count towards eligibility. So he's able to play this year for the Illini. And he's added just a lot of the small little things that win basketball games, rebounding, and just tougher defense than he played last year. So this is a more mature group that you're dealing with this year. And I think it's going to lead to some success for the Illini in this game.
Yeah. So when I look at, for those of the people that follow me, they know that I dig pretty deep into the KenPom numbers. I look back at past season. I look at the current season. I try to, obviously stats don't tell the whole story because at the end of the day, they're played on the basketball court. But I think that the stats give you a little bit of an idea as to what we need to know going into a game. And when I look at the Illini going into this season, what I look at is kind of what are your things that are dark green and what are your things that are dark red? And your things that are dark green are you have three that you're top 10 in the country at. And it's offense and defensive rebounding, which is an Alabama fan that just saw that Purdue game. That scares me. But then it's also you have not put teams on the free throw line. You're actually second in the country at putting the opposing team on the free throw line, at least so far this season. What do you think has been part of the success of when we're talking about the good things y'all have done, the success of the rebounding as well as the success is not putting teams on the on the stripe, because I think the reason that shocks me is your 2-pointers that you about 60% of the points y'all are giving up is from 2. And generally, when you see that really high 2-point number, that means you're allowing teams to drive to the basket, which generally means that you're giving up more free throws. But Illinois is doing it without fouling. So what do you think is the success of that?
I think it's Zamenhour Ivicic's shot blocking capabilities. I think he's such a smart shot blocker because you get some guys that just will hack at anything that's nearby, and I feel like Big Z. I'll just say that for short to save my tongue. It just feels like he is such a clinician at down low defense, and I feel like Brad Underwood has learned how to use his size unlike John Calipari for Arkansas last year. So I think that plays a factor. And then I think just out front, Kylan Boswell keeping things in front of him, making things late in the shot clock in terms of those 2-point shots. So I think a lot of that has to do with some of our backcourt defense that we've really had success with, and then Big Z down low getting those blocks.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then we flip over to the side that you're either really, not as good as the rest of the country from an assist perspective. I guess we can kind of start there. Something that does shock me when you have such elite Europeans and an elite senior guard in Kylan Boswell is the fact that y'all are 326th in the country in assists per made field goals. So in comparison to Purdue, that Alabama played last game, which was top 10 in the country, Illinois this season does not assist on a ton of made baskets. What do you think is a part of that? Is it just great individual efforts from guys like Boswell and Mirkovic, or is it something more about the style that Brad Underwood has been running?
Andre Stojakovic in the Texas Tech game played really downhill where he could just drive the lane. But it's a weird factor because Ben Hummerkaus is in double figures averaging. Andre Stojakovic is. Keaton Wagler, the freshman out of Kansas, he is double digits. David Mirkovic is double digits. Kylan Boswell is double digits. And then in the one game Tomislav played, he's averaging 21 points. I mean, it is such a wide range of players scoring for the Illini that you would think, oh, the assists are there. But it just feels like they've done really well in transition and they play such a great downhill game. And then Kylan Boswell can just pop one in your eye from the 3-point line. So I think it's just a lot of great individual styles of play that converge in the half court that they kind of play isolation ball really, really well. But they'll get the assists just on the random kick out for a 3-point shot.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then the final part that I guess I would talk about when you're talking about that's not quite as good is the defense has been good, right? Our 16th in the country statistically in defense. However, the part that Illinois has not been as good about as some others in the country, and honestly, bottom 10 in the country, is at turning over the opponent, right? They're about 10% of possessions they're forcing turnovers, which is again 357 in the country. They don't force a lot of steals. They don't have a lot of non-steal turnovers. Do you think that that's part of the style in which y'all play? Is it more of do y'all play a ton of man-to-man? Is it zone? Or like what kind of style should Alabama be expecting out of Brad Underwood in this game?
Yeah, this isn't the typical like Terrence Shannon Jr. Illini where you're going to get up or we're going to get up in their face because the athletes just aren't there on this year's team. It's a lot of great fundamental basketball. So they're going to play hard in the half court. That's why the turnovers aren't there. That's why it wasn't truly a huge fast break kind of game for the Illini in that Texas Tech game. They just play really fundamentally good defense. It's like that Bo Ryan, Wisconsin era where you're like, oh, this is just going to be a grab your hard hat kind of day. And I'm going to be struggling at the end of shot clocks. And that's going to be the style of play for the Illini defensively. So don't expect a lot of like fun, steal, fast break kind of defense. It's going to be, oh, I'm going to get worn out in this 40 minutes of play.
Gotcha. So, what is one player that you would say if this guy has a successful day, then Illinois will have a successful day and win this game? Who's that guy?
With all the international men of mystery for the Illini, who knew that a guy from Kansas would be stealing the hearts of Illini fans, and that's Keaton Wagler. He has played 30 minutes a game, 17 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists per game. He has just been a phenomenal force for the Illini. He is a guy that does a lot of, again, I'm going to say this again. I'm sorry, Alabama fans, but he does a lot of the little things right that win you basketball games. This was an unheralded guy out of Kansas. Kansas didn't even want him at the very beginning of the recruiting process, and Illinois just found what they liked about him, and that it's just phenomenal. So if he plays the way that Illini fans think he can play against Alabama, then Alabama fans are going to be like, another guy we have to deal with. Like I thought we contained Andrej that possession, and then Keaton just drives to the lane and gets a crafty layup. I mean, it just adds to that depth when Keaton plays really, really well.
Gotcha. And I guess the final question I would have is if there's one stat that you could look at and it's we're gonna win this stat, obviously score, that's the obvious one, but there's one stat and it's like, hey, if we can win this part of the game, like I think that we'll have success in this game. What is that one for the Illini? Is it you want to control the tempo? It could even be something more like that, right? Like we control how many possessions. What's kind of your general like this is what we need to control and win in this game and we'll be successful?
I think the rebounding total, even if it's by a slight margin, I think that adding that extra 3 points on second chance points can mean such a difference in a tight top 15 matchup like we're going to see in Chicago. So I think offensive rebounds and then second chance points. I think those are my two big factors for the Illini. If they are to win, then it's like, hey, they got a few more extra chances than Alabama. And if they lose, then it's like, man, Alabama just got that last second chance point, and that's why they won on a buzzer beater. So I think it's going to be that close of a game that every second chance point is going to be vital to this outcome.
Absolutely would agree. I think that rebounding is the number on both sides of this. Additionally, for Alabama fans that may not have caught my episode over there, and again, if you have not caught it, I did do a full episode on the Alabama side of this with Armchair Illinois, but we talked about Keaton Bristow, and I kind of had my score prediction have him factored into it, right? Like I am expecting because we don't know, I have to expect that he's not going to play. I said that if he does play, I may flip my prediction because obviously both sides of this with Thomas Lavavisic and Keaton Bristow, both we don't know who's going to play and who isn't. But because of how Alabama got punked on the rebounding, I think that I have to encounter that because again, Alabama got destroyed against Purdue and Illinois has been very, very good. With all that being said, what is your prediction? You can give any caveats you need to, but what's your score prediction for this game against Alabama?
It's such a balanced attack for the Illini that it almost doesn't matter if Thomas Love plays or not, which is crazy for a guy that has second team or first team all Big Ten kind of aspirations. But I think it's 85-79 Illini, no matter if Thomas Love plays or if he doesn't. And this is off of the fact that Texas Tech, even with Obi Toppin, a National Player of the Year kind of caliber player, he scored 35 points and Illinois still won that game. So I think even with the loss of Thomas Love, if he doesn't play or doesn't factor too much in the outcome, as a game time decision, player kind of limits their minutes. I truly think that this is an 85-79 Illini win just because of the proximity to Illinois being in Chicago. I feel like the excitement's there for the Illini fans up in that neck of the woods. And I think it's going to be a very orange crowd. And it's going to be a raucous environment with all of the young alumni that flock to Chicago upon graduation. So I think that's going to play just a tiny factor. And then I think the rebounding total for the Illini will make the difference happen for the Illini to win that 85-79 win.
100%. Well, thank you so much for joining the show today, Austin. Please let the fine people know where they can find you.
So you can find me personally at AB1132 on X, and then follow us at Armchair Illini for all the best Illini content out there. That'll be at Armchair Illini on YouTube, X, Instagram, wherever you get your social media content, we are there. So, Owen, I want to thank you for having me on. It's been a great experience, and just can't believe that 8 versus 11 is happening. But you guys are kind of used to that with your tough schedule that you guys played.
Yeah, unfortunately, our heart rates stay at a 10 when when Nate Oates is here. Stays at the 150 because Nate Oates doesn't know how to schedule an easy game in the non-conference. We get one game to get kind of going, and we have 3 guys that are under injury and are out for it. So Then all of a sudden you start with all the hard games, and it doesn't seem to be the end is in sight, because after this one, Alabama goes to the MTE and plays Gonzaga. So the hard games are not going to slow down anytime soon. So thank you so much, Austin, for joining the show. I really do appreciate it. As I mentioned, I did join him earlier today on the Armchair Illini podcast. So if you're interested in that, check it out. But thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode. Peace.